well, we are just checking like the final parts. We already had a look to listening. We had a look to the reading section. We checked the speaking section too, and now we are analyzing the writing section. So, like I told you, it's important that you are studying, you're um, extending you're extending your learning, um, like more and with other opportunities that you have that you can read a lot, you can access to a lot of content in English that is going to help you. And we're going to start here. Um, 1 second. So maybe you remember that the last class we were talking about the two parts for the writing section. Do you remember we have two parts, right? Do you remember what is the difference or what are some of the differences between part one and part two of the writing test? Do you remember anything that we discussed previously?
Think the part number one, it was for an informal mail or an informal text. Part number two was for a test that's more formal, or a discussion or essay.
Yes, that's correct. So the first one is more informal, is like something you will write for your friends. And I mean, it shouldn't be like really formal. Like, it shouldn't be too informal or too formal. So it should be like something you will write to a friend, but remember you are writing you're writing an exam. So yeah, we have this part. And do you remember how many words we have to write at least for this section? It says 50 words, but if I really want to get a good result in the exam, so what should I do? How many words should I write? How many words in part one? Do you remember?
100.
Mhm. So the person here wrote more than 200 words in part one. For part two, it wrote about 400 words. So remember, this is the limit. It tells you at least 50 words, but if you write only 50 or you write 51 or 60, so this is for you not to fail the test. You're going to get a basic level. So you need to write at least 200 words or I don't know, like 360, something like this. It's very important that you do it. So there you go. The first part is how to write an email. Then you can wonder, how can I start in this exam? How can I start writing? I show you some examples, right, in the previous test. So I'm going to analyze these, the writing sample that we have, the writing sample, vamos a revisar el ejemplo que nos dan para realizar este examen de práctica. In, for the writing section. Okay, there you go. So how do I start? So we're going to start first with the introduction paragraph. In this case, the introduction paragraph is just very simple. It's just, hi, it's nice to hear from you. How are you doing? So why do you think it's running like this screen at the beginning? Because the format of the activity, it's an email. Maybe the one you have in the exam in part one is not an email. Maybe it's a letter. Maybe it's just a text message, or even it's not even a message to someone in particular. But you need, in this case, if you need to check the format. So it tells you email, so you first say hello to the person. Then we have other three paragraphs that are the body. We could call it the body of the email. Why are there three paragraphs? Do you remember when we checked the previous class? Why do we have three paragraphs in the body? Why three paragraphs? Does it make sense? Is random? Why three paragraphs?
They are because the topics they ask for us.
Yeah, you have here some bullets. You have three bullets. You have 3 points you need to talk about. So that's why we have three paragraphs. You need to talk about the 3 points without excluding any of them. You need to talk about the three of them. It's really important that you do. And so the first paragraph is expected to answer what it says. It says, suggest a good way to celebrate with your all college friends. It would be great to meet and celebrate with our friends from college. How about meeting in London sometimes next month? We could meet in pub, have dinner, and then go to a club like in the old days. So there, suggest a good way. And the person, did the person only suggest one way? It says a good way to celebrate. And did this person mention just one way? Right? Well, this is a rhetoric question, but there are several options. That is going to be the difference between a basic level, intermediate level, or advanced level. So always try to go farther. It's like everything in life, right? We don't need to give the minimum. We need to give extra. We need to do put best foot forward. We need to do our best. So if they tell you a good way, well, don't take it literal. You can mention more, right? It's a suggestion. So okay, that's one of the things. And explain when would be the best time for the celebration. So the person did not mention only one way. Sorry, only one date. He mentioned why, right? Is the best moment to have the wedding. He invented some things. You can use your imagination and be creative, right? They say that a friend is in business trip. They say that other things, right? So yeah, that's the thing. Then offer to help organize the celebration. This is other thing. Here he's saying how he can help, right? So it says okay, about hotel bookings, etc. So the letter is really answering what you need. So you're thinking, oh wow, I need to write 236 words, but there is not like a feeling. There's not just writing because you need to complete 200 and something words, you know? If you only write in what you're writing doesn't make sense. Like if you try to add words just for adding, that doesn't work too, right? You need to connect the ideas. It needs to make sense. So yes, even though we need 236 words, I mean, not exactly the 36, but more than 200 for part one, don't don't just add words. Don't just try to, if you can say something with just one word, don't use three, for example. Yeah. It needs to contain more ideas, not more words. All right. So here you have the comment that we analyzed the last class, why this person deserves a C1 level. So this text, if your text, for example, if you wrote something like this, it means that you have C1. So it's a very advanced level. So that's what we want to get. If you write half of this, you will probably get a 2. So that's why take my advice very seriously and write more than 200 words for part 1. All right. So we already talked about organization. There are also some ideas, right? That we don't need to forget punctuation, commas, periods. Obviously you need to separate your paragraphs. It's not only one block of text, right? So you need to work on it. So maybe writing could seem simple, because when you write, you can organize your ideas better, right? Than speaking. You can organize your ideas better when you are writing, so you can think this is easy. But actually, you need to have all these things in mind. What can you do? Well, something you can do is to write a draft. Do you know what a draft is? You know draft? Yeah. Well, so you need to write something like that. Write a draft. A draft is very useful. You don't need to you just need to write your ideas. Like you need to think like what you want to talk. For example, if they say suggest a good way to celebrate with your friends. I don't know, I can think about beer, other thing. I don't know, a trip and camping. Okay. So very quickly, I came across 3 ideas. Okay, for the point number 2, explain when would be the best time for the celebration. Before Christmas. Because everyone, because no one will be available during Christmas. Or after, because they are with their families. Offer to help this organize a celebration. I will book the restaurant. So you see, I just wrote a draft for the whole text with original ideas, talking about these 3 points, and it took me less than 1 minute. But this minute helps you to organize everything. So now that you have your draft, and where can you write your draft? So there are some things you can do. You can have first the examine or Cambridge allows you to have either you have, for example, one sheet, like one sheet of paper, or you can have like this mini whiteboard. You can have a whiteboard, like a small one. You can get one of these two. Why would you take this? Well, you can use it to write your draft. You can use it to write your ideas. You can also use it for the listening section. I'm going to explain you why. So it's not cheating. You can do it. All right. It's legal. It's fair movement. Or you can use a whiteboard like this one, a small one. What you can't take is a notebook, right? You're not supposed to take your notebook because, well, notebook has more pages. So it's either one sheet of paper or one whiteboard, all right? So it's very important that you remember this because, there are some reasons why I don't want you to be so worried about it, but they can cancel your exam. For example, if you have notes, if you, for example, at the beginning, where you start the test, you need to show me the sheet of paper that you have or the whiteboard, and you must not take your notebook or cell phones, or like you have other people around you. You need to be alone by the time you do the exam. So there are some rules, but you can take notes. So you can write your draft in this page, or you can write it on the exam itself. These things that I just wrote, I can write them here like this. Okay. Beer, camping. I don't know, I start writing my ideas for my draft. Before Christmas. Booking restaurant. Okay, so now I have my ideas. It's important that I have the draft because it will help me to see what I already thought, and I don't keep the ideas in my mind while I need to focus on writing the message. So you don't want to you will need some mental energy to write your text, and you don't want to use some of this energy trying to remember ideas. So it's better to write them down and that you don't have to go back to your mind and try to remember what you wanted to write. So a draft is going to help you. Okay, very well. So what other things can we apply? Well, remember what we saw. We saw grammar like passive voice, reported speech, conditionals. All these are advanced structures. That's why we check them again because they are expected to be used in the exam. A student who doesn't know reported speech or passive voice is like a basic level and they won't be able to use it. So you need to show that you know. You need to use some vocabulary like collocations, like phrasal verbs, and so on. Okay, very well. So there you have the example. Now, what about the part two? Well, in the part two, it's more formal. Now here you need to write, usually it's like an essay. So the style is an essay. Doesn't mean that it's an essay. It's just the style. For example, here it says the town where you live has a website where local people can discuss local issues. You're concerned about the increasing car and truck traffic in the town and have decided to post your comments on the town website. So yes, maybe you can think this is not formal because I'm writing a website. I'm writing on a website, but you're expected to write more formally. Here, the format you need to follow is an essay. And what is an essay? Well, an essay is a text that allows you to write your ideas and to defend those ideas and to present um, something that supports those ideas. And also you need to use some organization. So you need to structure with body paragraphs, conclusion. They are usually more complex. And you can use different, there are different purposes of essay. You know, for example, you can use any of these styles. An essay first can be persuasive. Okay, well, that's one of the purposes. An essay can be persuasive. Let me check. One second. Let's open part two. So there are at least 5 types of essays, ¿no? Son 5 tipos de ensayos o estilos de ensayos. So you can write a persuasive essay. So what is a persuasive essay? What do you think is the purpose of a persuasive essay? What is persuasive?
Convince or to send some idea.
Yes, exactly. Convince the reader of a particular viewpoint or argument. So you try to convince the person. Expository, that's another kind of another kind of essay. So what is an expository essay? Well, it's to expose, to explain, inform the topics, the ideas. I don't want to convince you. I just want to show you facts. All right. Then we also have analytical. Analytical is to explain or inform the reader about a topic. Now, here I want to explain you something. I want to explain facts. I want you to understand what I will write. Usually this, for example, can be something scientific or something that you understand. You need to write an analytical essay. Descriptive. I'm telling you this so you can tell me what kind of essay do you need to write here. Descriptive. You use a descriptive essay to describe a person, place, event, or object in detail. Okay, so you can, they can ask you, for example, describe the place where you live. And I don't know, try to describe the place where you live and suggest some changes that they can make on the streets. I don't know. So you need to write a descriptive essay. And then finally, you have the narrative essay. Those are the 5 most important ones. And so you need to tell a story or recount your personal experience. So narrative is very personal. You need to just tell your experience, maybe a place where you went. And you can even invent the information. If you don't have an idea, if they ask you, talk about your last trip and you don't remember about your last trip, event that you went to China or something, it doesn't matter. Okay. So these are the 5 types of essays. Now let's read instructions. It says the town where you live has a website. Okay, we already read this. Write your comments for the town website. Write why you think the amount of traffic is increasing in your town, what problems the increased traffic is causing in your town, and how the amount of traffic in your town could be reduced. And add any other points you think they are important. So what kind of essay do you think we need to write? Persuasive, expository, analytical, descriptive, or narrative? What do you think?
Persuasive and analytical.
Mm-hmm. Well, analytical, is just that we will need more information. So here, for example, they're telling us that there are problems. Issues means problems with the truck traffic, right? But we need more information so we can analyze.
I think it's descriptive.
Okay. Why do you think it's descriptive?
Because the text says what is the situation about the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it has a bit of everything, right? So yes, it's true. You need to start from facts to write what you need to write. But the purpose, what do you think is the main purpose of this? And now you can look at if you want to look at the answer that the person wrote, what do you think is the answer? Is he trying to convince the reader? Is he trying to explain or inform the reader? Is he trying to analyze, describe, or is telling you just something for experience? Like after reading this, what does it move the reader to do? Like if I read this and I apply it to my city, what does this text want me to do? This is very important because you need to have this in mind when you write something. If you don't have in mind what you want to achieve, so it will be very complicated to write a draft, especially because it's very different from the other one, the part 1. In part 2, you need a purpose for what you're writing. The other one, it's already telling you the purpose. Here, you don't have a purpose. You need to think about the purpose. Try to have a look at you can read, please, this text. This is what you're supposed to write to get a good level. Again, you can see we have three bullets, three points. So we're talking about the 3 points too. We have a paragraph to start, and we have a paragraph of conclusion. So try to read it. I'll give you a couple of minutes and tell me what do you think is the purpose?
I think it's expository.
Mhm.
I think because I am going to present my ideas and reasons about
Mhm.
the traffic in my town.
Good. Thank you. Are you reading?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. So I see that I see that most like you are between I send you some information about what is the difference between these two essays. So you see that we can analyze some points, the purpose, the tone, the structure, and an example, right? So what is the purpose of expository essay? It says the primary goal of an expository essay is to inform, explain, or describe a topic to the reader. Only explain. I only want to tell you, like, this is happening, like in this paragraph, like they are explaining something. But here we have the tone is neutral and objective. Neutral and objective. Now, you see what it says at the beginning? It says, I'm writing this comment to complain. Maybe I'm objective, but I'm not neutral, right? I'm against a situation. Okay, and then example, I don't know, it's like we use this first one to explain something, maybe more like science, you know, like it says an expository essay might explain the process of photosynthesis. Or, you know, I can explain you about how to start a penal process against someone, no? Or if I'm a doctor, I can I try to explain you the process of digesting food. But persuasive essay, it says the main purpose of persuasive essay is to persuade the reader to adopt the author's viewpoint. So I want you to think like me. Yeah. In persuasive essay, I want you to think like me. The tone is argumentative and assertive. So I need to use some words that are used for arguments, for giving arguments. When they ask you, that's the key. When they ask you about your opinion, which is like in the part 2, you need to write a persuasive essay. When they ask you about your opinion, you need to write persuasive essay, right? At least that is for this kind of exam. So you are going to take the structure that we have here. You can see that we have some persuasive words, right? So it says, for example, as far as I'm concerned, some expressions that are used for persuasion. En lo que a mí concierne, right? As far as I'm concerned is one expression. The main reason, right? Aquí explica la razón. Moreover, therefore, por lo tanto, they cannot sleep well, like showing the problems. Okay, yes, I think the authority should take action. I think the authority should take action. You see, it's like very persuasive. And you need to use some elements. You need to present a thesis. You need to present like, what's the problem? You need to tell me why is a problem and what do you think is the solution. So you need to define a problem or the problems. In this case, it's easy because here they're telling you what the problem is. So you need to identify, okay, problems are, what are the problems in this part 2? What is the problem or problems?
The increased traffic.
Yes, increase traffic. Okay, very well. So you need to talk about it. Very well. This is when they ask you about your opinion. It's very probable that you have this kind of persuasive essay for the real exam that you will have. You need to show your viewpoint and you need to use arguments, and it says calls the reader to action. Llama al lector a la acción, right? So it's not only telling you this is the problem, I have a problem. You're proposing a solution. Okay, it says, for example, algunos ejemplos. I don't know, advocate, prohibir el uso de, o más bien cambiar las leyes para un control más estricto de las armas. Or I don't know what you think about feminism, what you think about work laws in your country, las leyes laborales en tu país. Like, this could be some of the things, maybe not that controversial, but it will be, you will have like a problem. We can check another exam from the business kind. Let's see. I don't know, we have. I thought we could check other example. But you will very probably have to write a persuasive essay. So that's what you need to keep in mind. I want to convince other person of something, okay? So this is what you will have to do to persuade the other person. Okay, so we already talked about the organization. Ya hablamos acerca de la organización, de que debe tener su texto y del contenido, right? And now, what about the vocabulary? I think we also mentioned, right? We need to use phrasal verbs, collocations, and the grammar too, right? So, I don't know. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions about what we need to do in part 2?
How many words are in the part 2?
In this, we have 300 words for part 2.
Okay.
And remember, this is what we want, so we can get C1. You can write less words, but you will get lower score.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and remember, the other one had 260. Yeah. You can write more, right? It doesn't say a maximum of words, so if you write 400, it's okay. Just maybe don't write 1,000 words, right? Anyway, you won't have time. All right. So what can help you with writing essays? You can use this vocabulary that is very useful to, in this case, the persuasive essay. And we're going to check it. Please, do you think, Cesar, can you read the vocabulary that we have for opening?
Opening. They often say that. Many people claim that. In this day and age, nowadays, these days, we live in an age when many of the youth are.
Mhm.
Is a
Excellent.
whole,
Sorry, continue.
continue?
Yes.
Is it's a wholly debate topic that often divides opinion, is often discussed yet rarely understood. It goes without saying that is one of the most important issues facing youth today. The following issues takes a look at both sides of argument.
Argument. Thank you. Okay, do you have questions about the meaning of any of these expressions? No? Okay, so
Sorry, in this day and age, what is the meaning?
in this age, it means, in this day and age, es como hoy en día.
Okay.
Hoy en día. These are good phrases for you to start. Right, we have nowadays, que también es como hoy en día. Vivimos en una era en la que muchos de nosotros tenemos un debate acalorado sobre opiniones divididas. It's often discussed, frecuentemente se discute, y aún así es poco entendido. It goes without saying that it means like, no se necesita decir que, como para evidenciar que es algo muy, muy normal o algo muy importante. Okay. Maybe just don't write like the last one, ¿no? La última expresión esa quizá, ¿no? No escriban como, este es un ensayo para, no. You don't need to say this is an essay, like it needs to, you don't need to make that obvious. And let's see, now in some introducing points, eso lo podemos usar para hablar del primer punto, por ejemplo, que menciona el examen. Firstly, let us take a look. Primeramente, vamos a prestar atención a este punto. To start with, para comenzar. First of all, primeramente, es digno considerar. Then you think, no? Secondly, en segundo, lo segundo. Thirdly, lo tercero. Furthermore, in addition, this means además. What is more, lo que es más. On top of that, y encima de todo eso, you can use any of these expressions. Okay, Fer, can you please read the vocabulary for presenting ideas and giving examples?
Yes, when it comes to noun, gerund, in terms of noun, gerund, with respect to noun, gerund, not only, but also, according to experts, research has found that there are those who argue that, for instance, for example, such as
Okay, thank you. So when you give ideas, right? When it comes to, es como cuando hablamos de, when it comes to, you can say, for example, when it comes to the youth, cuando hablamos de la juventud, when it comes to work, cuando hablamos del trabajo, when it comes to money, etc. In terms of, en términos de, o hablando acerca de, you can say, in terms of, like they say in Despicable Me, in terms of money, we don't have money, right? Or something like this. With respect to is referente a, you can also say regarding to es con referencia a, regarding to. You can say these things too. And can you read, please, Heidi, the phrases for expressing result and reason?
Yes, teacher. As a result of, has led to, has resulted in, consequently, therefore, on account of, due to, one reason behind this is.
Very well. Okay, thank you. So To express a result or reason, para expresar un resultado, una razón. So I think this you can understand, right? Therefore, es como por lo tanto. One reason behind this is, una razón detrás de esto es, due to is debido a. You can use them too. Contrasting, please can you read, Miguel, the expressions regarding to contrasting, please?
Yes, teacher. Contrasting. Auto, even though, subject plus verb. Speed, in speed of noun, gerund. The speed, the fact that subject plus verb. On the one hand, on the other hand, however, nevertheless, even so.
Excellent. Okay, very well. Thank you. So to contrast, right, we have although, even though, que significa aunque, despite and in spite of. Do you remember what is the meaning of despite and in spite of? Do you remember?
Es a pesar.
A pesar de, exactly, muy bien, a pesar de. Despite the fact that significa a pesar del hecho de que, como más complicado, ¿no? On the one hand, ¿qué quiere decir? On the one hand or on the other hand?
Por una parte,
Ajá, exactly, es como por una parte, exactly. However, nevertheless, even so, sin embargo. Okay. Concluding, please, Ulises, can you read the vocabulary for concluding?
Yes. To sum up, in conclusion, all things considered, taking everything into consideration, weigh up both sides of the argument, the advantage outweigh the disadvantage.
Okay, very well. Advantages or disadvantages. I don't like the last expression, me gusta bastante porque es, como decimos en español, sopesar, ¿no? The advantages of and outweigh the disadvantages. Outweigh es como sopesar las desventajas. The advantages, I could say, for example, I don't know. The advantages of doing this surgery. Outweigh the disadvantages. Como las ventajas, aquí lo que escribí fue, las ventajas de realizar esta operación sobrepasan o son mayores, el peso es mayor o es mejor que las desventajas. Like there are more advantages than disadvantages, but it's just like more formal. Weighing up both sides of the argument también eso quiere decir sopesando ambas partes del argumento. Weighting up both sides of the argument. You can say like this. To sum up es como para concluir. You can say to sum up or in conclusion. Okay, now we have here opinion. We have, as far as I'm concerned, from my point of view, que eso, por ejemplo, en correo electrónico también o en chats, se puede hacer de la siguiente forma. No sé si han visto alguna vez escrito en redes sociales el POV. POV is a point of view. So you can see from my POV, ¿no? Desde mi punto de vista. Ok, pero eso obviamente no lo escriban en el examen. No se pueden escribir, por ejemplo, cosas como by the way, como BTW, no pueden escribir oh my God. This is not correct. It should be, I think, because now it's very normal, but it's not. Remember that the exam is more formal than other texts. Okay, my own view on the matter is mi propio punto de vista en este asunto es. Do you have any questions about this vocabulary? I think it's very interesting. No? Okay, excellent. So let's remember a little bit of the time that we have for the test. So, 1 second. Okay, so for the writing section, in total, you have about 1 hour and 1 hour 25 minutes. So 1 hour and 1/2 an hour. This is like the time you have for watching a movie, approximately. So it's the same time of a movie. You have to write your 2 parts. So you can think that it's a lot of time, but it's not. It's like you don't need to waste any time. And you know, actually you will see, because I've seen many of the students, sometimes they run out of time. They want to write more. But if you follow these tips, it will help you. First, organize your ideas. Sometimes we lose more time because we want to start something and we don't organize everything. And just, you know, try to, what you write makes sense. If you don't make the 200 words, also don't get too obsessed. Don't worry. But just try that what you write has a lot of quality. Now, what we need to do is to practice, of course. So I will send you these exams so you can work on them, the part 1 and the part 2, and you can write it and you can send it to me so I can help you. What can I do for you in this case? Well, I'm going to help you to check like the most common mistakes. Like I'm going to check that you have a good, that you don't misspell words, que no escribas las palabras de forma incorrecta, check the organization, check if we can improve some other things. And you need to send it to me. You have this week to do it. And I'm going to send it here on WhatsApp. There you go. That is part 1, and now I'm sending you part 2 on WhatsApp. Okay, there you have part 1 and part 2. You can write everything and you can take a picture and send it to me on WhatsApp, okay? So that's what you have to do. And what other thing I would like you to do? The speaking section, also you're going to do something. Please, second. Okay, I get it. You're going to do the 15 minutes exam speaking test. Solo son 15 minutos para el examen de speaking. And here you're going to record the answers on your WhatsApp, right? Because no one is going to listen to you. Aquí nadie te va a escuchar, entonces te tienes que grabar. You're going to use maybe the recorder on your phone or on WhatsApp. So you record it to me. Okay, you record it to me and you send your answers so I can hear you. So it's very important that we focus on practicing more and more. Now we have the basis, we understand many things. And what else? Tomorrow we're going to practice also a little bit of writing, of listening, and some more reading activities. So the next two classes, I mean Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to practice. And just please work on these things. You have the whole week to do it. You don't have to finish everything on Wednesday. You have until Friday to do it. So you have 2 writings and you have the speaking section. You have to send me an audio. Please practice it. And well, so that's it, guys. So thank you so much. We finished for today. So take care.